In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down why I think 45 Colt is the best cartridge for homesteading. How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. My name is Chad, and this is the Hopeful Homestead. You're out here right now at my little campsite next to my tiny cabin on wheels that I've parked out on my family's property that we're calling the Hopeful Homestead. A 21-acre piece of land that we're going to be building our forever home on. A little farmhouse with a wraparound porch, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful journey. So stick around to follow along if you'd like. In this series of videos, as I've mentioned, this is part 5 of a 5-part series where I'm breaking down everything having to do with the firearms you need for homesteading. And we started out this series talking about why farmers and ranchers tend to gravitate towards old school guns. Then we broke down what makes a good farm gun overall. And then we got detailed and started talking about what makes a good farm pistol. And then in the last video, we talked about what makes a good farm rifle. And today, we're talking about the best cartridge for homesteading and farm work. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. As I've shown many times on this channel, this is my farm pistol. This is my Cimarron Thunderer 45 Colt 5.5 inch revolver. I'm gonna pull that out of the holster here and show you guys exactly why. Take out all these big old 45 Colt rounds, fully empty. Empty gun. And so, 45 Colt. A lot of people scoff at this as being an actual usable round. Yes, there's a whole subgenre of people out there that love doing competitions and cowboy action shooting. I could care less about doing any of that because I'm not into the whole showmanship side of it. I'm fine, if more power to you if you love doing that stuff. I just want an actual round, an actual cartridge that I can share between my sidearm and my rifle, that I can bring with me while I'm out on my land doing farm work, doing homestead work. I've mentioned many times that I was out here building this fence you see behind me, over a mile of fencing that took me over a year to build. And I had firearms with me the whole time, and 45 Colt, I had this Cimarron 45 Colt revolver and Rossi R92 45 Colt rifle were my firearms of choice that whole time. I had to deploy that revolver many times to defend myself against road cattle that were chasing me, water moccasins, carrying it for protection against the threat of dangerous wildlife like big old heavy 200-300 pound wild boar that wander onto our property. There's Florida panthers out here. This is Florida. We got wetlands on our property. There's gators. There's plenty of reason to want to have a formidable round that can take care of business, that also meets a few other parameters. Because yeah, if you just want a formidable round, why don't you carry around, a 308? Why aren't you carrying around an AR or something? And it's like, well, I need something that's not going to destroy my ears. I've talked about that in these other videos of this series. 45 Colt, to me, is the best balance of being a big old heavy round. I mean, look at that thing. That is a 250 grain heavy bullet right there. Big bore, flat nose. That's going to do damage no matter what it's hitting. That's going to take care of business. And 45 Colt as a cartridge, you can load this thing up. You can have 400 grain bullets on the end of this thing if you wanted, and you can load this thing up to be a hot load where you're pushing 454 Casull levels, 44 Magnum levels with the right firearm that can handle it. Nothing's withstanding that, especially here in South Florida. Pretty much the only thing you have to worry about that might not be able to be taken down with something like that would be grizzlies. But standard regular 45 Colt that was the old school load that was traveling about 1,100 feet per second with the right pressures of the actual original 45 Colt load from the back in the day. That was proven. A lot of guys out there say that that's perfectly capable with the right shot placement of killing grizzlies. So for pretty much everything else, I can, here in Florida, I use HSM cowboy action load that is the hotter load. They have the lighter load that's 700 feet per second. That's what I target practice with. But this version is the version that's traveling about 850, 900 feet per second. You can feel the difference. But it's perfect because it's still subsonic. It's not destroying your ears. I need to have ammo that I can rely on that is formidable, that is also not going to destroy my ears, because I'm out here doing work and I'm not carrying hearing protection with me. I don't care. A lot of people in the comments say, hey, just carry some, a nice set of earplugs with you or something. And yeah, when a wild boar starts charging me at 30 miles an hour while I'm out here replacing boards on my fence, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be like, okay, wild boar, hold on. Let me get my hearing protection out of my pocket, put those on real quick, then draw my pistol. Okay, now you can keep charging me. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to just draw my gun and fire. I've had to do that with snakes that are right up on me where I don't have much time to react. And even the time I had to defend myself against this bull that was chasing me around my Bronco. It chased me 3 laps around my Bronco when I was building this fence. What am I going to do? Fiddle with trying to find my hearing protection before I fire my gun? No. I'm not going to do that. And so because I'm having to deploy my firearms regularly in a self-defense manner against wildlife and pests, I need it to be a cartridge that's capable and also not going to destroy my ears. And 45 Colt is perfect for that. Yeah, you could say that about 22 long rifle and other cartridges that are 38 special, that are not going to destroy your ears as well. But none of them have the heaviness and the big bore 45 Colt. For me, this is the perfect blend of being able to take care of business without destroying your ears. Another benefit of 45 Colt is that it doesn't over penetrate, especially if you're using some of the lighter loads, cowboy action loads, or even this HSM, 850, 900 feet per second load. Yeah, it's going to penetrate, but it's not going to be like firing off a 30-06 or a 308 or something that's just going to blow through a big animal and be a risk to your neighbors. Yes, I'm on 21 acres here, but I've still got a couple of neighbors that are on other 20-acre lots nearby. 45 Colt's perfect for that. It's going to have a heavy thump, a heavy punch right on its target with a massive wound channel, and it's going to stop. It's not going to keep going and blowing through all the way. So that's another reason 45 Colt is really good for farm work, because you're having to you deploy your firearm outside in a scenario where you're in a hasty situation where you're already tired. If you miss your target and it hits your neighbor's house, God forbid, at least at that distance of 100 yards or so, 45 Colt is slowing down quite a bit by 100 yards, and it might not penetrate through the wall of that house. It's the perfect balance, like I keep talking about. It's the perfect balance of being a heavy, capable load that won't over penetrate, won't destroy your ears, and even a self-defense scenario in your house, you don't have to worry about this passing through multiple rooms and taking out some of your family members in a different floor of your house. It's gonna slow down and not be a problem. And it's also in an indoor setting, not gonna completely destroy your ears again, like something like 357 Magnum would. And finally, it can be loaded up to really hot levels. Like I was saying earlier, this can be loaded up to be really powerful, to become a really effective hunting cartridge. Coming out of a rifle, if you get a 20 or so inch barrel, right, lever gun, where you're loading this thing up to 44 Magnum levels, and it's got its 45 caliber heavy bullet, shooting 300 and 400 grain bullet out of that thing, traveling really fast, carrying a heavy weight. That's going to be a really effective hunting cartridge for most distances you would be hunting from on your property when it comes to supplying food for your family. That's what makes 45 Colt so versatile. It can be a light load, a heavy load. It won't over penetrate. It isn't too hard on your ears. It's an ammunition that can be loaded into both your rifle and your sidearm, and that's where 45 Colt comes in perfectly. Now, so as I reload my pistol real quick, I just want to say thanks for being here. Thanks for following along with this 5-part series if you have. If this is your first video of this series, I encourage you to go back and check out the other videos. Go check out how I break down various aspects of the different types of firearms that I feel are the best for homestead work. And you might get something out of it. And if you're thinking about starting a homestead or buying some land and thinking about doing farm work yourself, this is important information that I wish I knew before I started doing all this. Good old-fashioned wood and steel, lever guns and revolvers. They've been around for centuries for a reason. 45 Colt's been around for 150 years for a reason. A lot of farmers and ranchers choose to carry these guns and choose to carry 45 Colt for a reason. But that's going to do it for today's video. That's going to do it for this 5-part series. Thanks for being here. And if you didn't check out the other videos, I'll link the first episode right here, talking about why farmers and ranchers tend to gravitate towards these old school guns. So go check that out, and I'll see you over in that video. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, my name is Chad, and this is the Hopeful Homestead.